Have you ever felt scattered? Like you're trying to do way too many things at once? Well, today we're going to dive into a really simple but super powerful idea from the world of business strategy. It's all about finding clarity in all the chaos. It's called the Hedgehog Concept, and honestly, it might just change how you look at everything.
So where does this whole thing come from? Well, you might be surprised to learn that it doesn't start in some modern boardroom. It actually begins with an ancient Greek parable, a simple story about two very, very different animals. Okay, so the story goes like this. Every day, a super cunning fox comes up with all these new, complex, clever ways to try and catch a hedgehog. But you know what? Every single time, the hedgehog does the exact same thing. It just rolls up into a tight, spiny ball. And that one simple, perfect defense, it wins. Every time. The hedgehog's one big thing always beats the fox's many little tricks. So you see, it really boils down to two totally different mindsets. On one side, you've got the fox. It's scattered, it's all over the place, always chasing the next new idea, the next shiny object. And on the other side, you've got the hedgehog. It's simple, laser-focused, consistent, and it knows it's one big thing inside and out. Now this is where it gets really interesting. How does this old fable apply to the modern world? Well, a researcher named Jim Collins took this very idea and used it as a lens to figure out what really separates good companies from the truly great ones in his landmark book, Good to Great. And what his team found was, frankly, striking. The companies that made that incredible leap from just being good to being truly great, they weren't the flashy, fox-like companies. Nope. They were the hedgehogs, the ones that found their one big thing and then pursued it with this relentless, almost obsessive, single-minded focus. And you can see right here exactly where it fits into the bigger picture. Think of it like the central gear in a huge machine. The hedgehog concept is the turning point, the critical moment of what Collins calls disciplined thought. It's where these companies stopped just doing things and started thinking deeply about why they were doing them. So what is it really? Collins defines it as this simple, crystal-clear concept that, and this is key, emerges when an organization gets brutally honest with itself about the answers to three very specific questions. It's where those three answers overlap. All right, so these three questions, they form the very core of this whole framework. So let's break down each one of these so-called three circles and see exactly how they all work together to create that focus. First up, what are you deeply, genuinely passionate about? And the point here is that you can't fake this. You can't just manufacture passion in a meeting. It's not about trying to motivate people. It's about discovering what you and your team already care about on a fundamental level. Now, pay close attention to the wording here because it is absolutely crucial. This isn't just wishful thinking or some bravado-filled goal. It's about a deep, humble, egoless understanding of what your organization has the genetic code, the real potential to do better than anyone else. And just as important, it means having the discipline to say, you know what, we can't be the best at that, and then stopping, even if you're pretty good at it. And finally, number 3, what really drives your economic engine. The core question here is a tough one. If you could pick one, and only one, ratio or metric to systematically increase over time, which single number would have the greatest and most sustainable impact on your success? Answering that forces you to gain a profound insight into your business model. But here's what's so cool about this idea. It's not just for giant corporations. Collins later took the concept and adapted it in a way that makes it incredibly useful for nonprofits, for social sector organizations, and yeah, even for us as individuals. Think about it. For a nonprofit like a food bank or a university, profit isn't the name of the game, right? Money is an input to get the work done, not the ultimate measure of success. So the economic engine becomes a resource engine. And the key question totally shifts to, how can we create the most significant human impact with the time, money, and talent we have? And for you and me, that question, what can you be the best in the world at? Well, that can feel a little intimidating, to say the least. So Collins reframes it beautifully. What are you encoded for? What just feels natural to you based on that unique combination of your nature, your innate talents, and your nurture, all the life experiences that have shaped who you are? Okay, so you've thought about the 3 circles. You've got some ideas. Now what? How do you actually put this thing to work? Well, this is where the rubber meets the road, where insight has to transform into real, disciplined action. Look, finding your hedgehog is a process. It's about intense debate, tough conversations, and discovery. And it takes time. You're not going to figure this out in a single weekend workshop. Get this,
The average company in Colin's study took 4 years to really nail it down. It's a journey to find that North Star that will guide every single decision you make from here on out.
And once you find it, the level of discipline required is just immense. The truly great companies adopted this simple but incredibly powerful mantra. They wouldn't start a new project, they wouldn't acquire another company, they wouldn't do anything that didn't fit perfectly within their 3 circles. If it wasn't their one big thing, the answer was just no. Period. So what's the payoff for all this intense focus? Collins has a great metaphor for it. He calls it the flywheel effect. Picture a giant, heavy metal flywheel. Those first few pushes to get it moving are incredibly hard, right? But every single disciplined decision, every action you take that's consistent with your hedgehog concept is another push on that wheel. And over time, it starts to build this quiet, unstoppable momentum.
Which brings us right back to that simple question from the beginning. When you really look at your work, at your career, at your organization, are you chasing a million different things like the fox? Or are you focused, truly focused, on that one big thing, like the hedgehog? Because finding the answer to that question just might be the key to going from good to great.